school people will call you and let you know that you actually did change somebody's life?
Oh, all the time. I get it all the time. And in fact, I mentor thousands of kids across the country, even to this day, from kids I've spoken to a year ago in Moab, Denver, Phoenix, Dallas. You know, it happens all the time. And I still get Twitter messages, direct messages on Twitter, or I'll get direct messages on Facebook from kids saying, you know, you've changed the way I think. I've had teachers who have been bullies themselves still, after they've heard me speak, go, you know what, Eric, you know, what you said really hit home, and I really feel ashamed of myself for behaving that way, you know, either towards my own children or towards the kids in my classroom, even towards my spouse, you know.
Yeah, you know, unfortunately, you see a lot of that on the news.
Right.
I saw one time that a teacher was actually knocking a kid around because she didn't like how he was acting, and I was astounded. I mean, I never would think that a teacher would do something like that. But I think in this day and age, with so many different ways to capture, you know, somebody in the act, whether it be a cell phone camera or, you know, the news or whatever, that's why it's more out there in the public now. It's probably been going on for years. We just didn't realize it.
Right, exactly. And that, I mean, I tell people all the time, you know, be careful, you know, be careful how you treat people, you know, be careful with what you do, you know, because one day you're going to get caught. One day it's going to backfire on you and you're going to get caught, and, you know, it's not going to be pretty. I firmly believe what comes around goes around, and
yes,
you know, I tell these kids, even at the age that they are now, you know, some of the high school, I told a high school a couple of weeks ago that I spoke at, I said, you know, be careful whose butt you may kick, because it may be the butt you have to kiss one day, you know.
That's a great motto. Great motto.
Yeah. I mean,
I know.
And it's true. I mean, I know personally of a guy that I used to go to school with that, you know, it was like his life's work to make everybody else life hell. And, you know, one of the kids he picked on and tormented pretty much the 4 years we were all in high school together, he now works for.
Right. Oh, wow. That's a grand irony. And, you know, Eric, I just want to jump in here and commend you for, you know, your beginnings and your background and your life as a child growing up, that you have, you know, one, grown into this amazing actor, but you also are taking something, you know, that is personal for you and using it to help others. And I just want to commend you and say kudos to you, because, you know, it's one thing to be an advocate for something or against something, but to have a personal connection and be able to share with others your personal testimony as to what, you know, that it is, you know, you can say this can be overcome. This can be dealt with. You know, you do not have to feel alone. I mean, and that's got to be so reaffirming for a lot of students, you know, that you are, you know, coming in contact with as you, you know, journey along in this endeavor. So thank you for what you're doing.
Exactly.
Oh, thank you very much. You know, I tell the kids all the time, you know, it's not what happens to you that, you know, and not to diminish, you know, people's feelings, but I tell them all the time, you know, it's not what happens to you that makes it, it's not what happens to you that matters. It's how you react to it, you know, because you can react to certain things, you know, so you can react to certain ways, you can act, you know, certain things can happen, and you have a choice. You can either react to it negatively or you can react to it positively. I mean, you know, although, yeah, I get it all the time. I mean, people still on Facebook and Twitter, you know, I have people that put me down and, you know, they say certain things about me, but, you know, I live by a saying, you know, your opinion costs me nothing, so I pay you no mind.
Yeah.
You know?
Another good one.
Yeah.
Another good one.
Well, and, you know, another thing that always kind of amazes me to a certain degree is the number of adults, especially you see it more now on social media than you ever did before. And I'm sure it's not a new problem. You know, it's just that now we have all these different places to go to, you know, to network and interact with people. You know, it's amazing when you see adults that are bullying others, you know, and you know, and a lot of times you just think to yourself that we're adults and it shouldn't be happening, you know. I mean, kids, you kind of somewhat understand it to a point, because, you know, kids are going to be kids, and a lot of them will act out and use it as a form of, you know, it is kind of a way for them to, there's a problem going on that's causing it. You know, they didn't just wake up and say, I'm going to go bully my class today. So, you know, it goes beyond the bounds of, you know, kids, but I think it has to start in the schools, and I think that they have to be educated, and it needs to be awareness brought to it because, you know, if you can get a handle on it when they're young, the likelihood of them growing into adulthood and being bullies will be reduced greatly. You know?
Right.
And,
well, I think too. I think parents, parents need to be held accountable too. There's a lot of parents out there that don't believe their kids could ever act like that. You know.
That's so true.
You know, there's a lot of parents that feel like, you know, their kids are, you know, they're the best kids on the planet, and that's okay to feel like that, but, you know, understand that, you know, sometimes your kids aren't who they are when they're around you, you know.
Right.
And I tell people that all the time. Communicate. Communication is the key. Talk to your kids, you know. You know, whether you realize what you're, you know, whether you think your kid's the best kid on the planet or not, you know, it's what they do when they're away from you that sometimes can make all the difference in the world. And, you know, I've talked to parents. I can't tell you how many times I've talked to parents that have said, you know, at home my kid's like an angel, pretty much walks on water, and then I find out at school they're beating other kids up, picking on kids, you know, and they're like in total shock over it, you know. But I think, listen, they make parents accountable all over the country if your kids are ditching school. Truancy is a huge issue, and they make the parents accountable for that. I think they should start making the parents accountable if your kids are in school acting crazy, you know?
Right. Yeah, agreed.
And not getting them help or something. And I'm a mother of 4 children, and I can say the opposite. My kids are horrible at home sometimes, but I've gotten from, you know, school and relatives and friends and that, oh, your kids are so good. I didn't mind watching them. We had a lot of fun. And I'm like, what kids did you have?
Right?
Yeah, I always tell mine, you know, I'm a mom of 3, and I always tell mine, you know, you can act however you want at home. You can act up, act out. But when you go out this door, you better be on your best behavior, or you got to come back home and deal with me.
Right.
So,
That's right.
I don't know if that has helped, but, you know, I do believe, as you said earlier, Eric, that it does start at home. Everything that a child goes through starts at home, whether it's, you know, as a parent, you conducting yourself in a way, because kids learn what they live. And so, you know, if as a parent you're not holding yourself to the highest standard, your kids are going to see that. And if they see you doing something, naturally they're going to think it's okay because mom and dad do it. And so, parents, if they're being held accountable for other things, you know, then they should be held accountable for this too, because as parents, it's our job to make sure we know what our kids are doing and what they're doing online and regulating their online use. I mean, there's so many things that parents do, but the drawback to a lot of that is that parents, you know, there are parents that don't take that due diligence with overseeing what their kids are doing. And that is the tragic side to that and part of the problem, unfortunately. And so, you know, but hopefully as you're out there and you're promoting this, that, you know, you're planting seeds that the kids will take home and be able to grow from and maybe teach all of us something in the process, you know?
Yeah, absolutely.
And I have to say, too, that I always told my children from the time they could understand me, you do the crime, you do the time, and it doesn't matter what it is, you know, if it's something small at home or big on the outside, you know, I'll help you out, I'll stand by you, but you're going to admit you did wrong and you're going to do whatever penance they give you, you know, whether it be jail or whatever. You know, you have to pay for what you did. That's it.
Right. Right. Exactly.
Most definitely.
Now, how did you get hooked up with the president and Hillary Clinton when you were a keynote speaker?
Yeah, I spoke at a LULAC event, which is the League of United Latin American Citizens, and it's one of the largest active rights groups in America for Latinos, and they actually had me speak at a small event in Texas, which, you know, I went and spoke at. I didn't think anything of it. I went out there and spoke at the event. Well, not knowing that the president of LULAC was there that day, she came up to me after and she said, listen, we would love for you. You know, we're doing a huge rally behind Barack Obama. and we would love for you to come out to Washington and speak. And
what an honor.
I was like, absolutely. And at first I was like, well, talk to my manager, because a lot of times people will say something and then you guys part ways and you never hear from them again. But they were very adamant about having me there. They flew myself and my entire family out to Washington for a week, and we I got to speak, and it was an amazing experience, and something I'll probably remember the rest of my life. And it was just a real joy to be able to share that with my family.
And even that wasn't nerve-wracking for you, or is that one of the times you were nervous?
No, I wasn't nervous at all. As a matter of fact, right before I went on, they told me I was only going to speak in front of like 150 people, and I ended up speaking in front of like 2,500. And
oh my gosh!
CNN was there.
Big difference.
CNN was there. NBC World News Tonight. Everybody was there. Secret Service, and I remember standing backstage, and one of the ladies, one of the directors of the events, came up to me. She said, "Well, do you have any notes you're going to take up with you?" And I was like, "No, I don't. I've never taken a note anywhere to speak." And she looked at me like a deer in headlights, like, "Oh God, what did we get ourselves into?" But I got up there and I spoke for 45 minutes, and just pretty much kind of told my story, and because there were a lot of they had a youth group there as well, teens that are in the organization that are coming up on scholarships, and kids that are looking to go to be politicians and whatnot. So I just kind of told my story, and I touched bases on higher education and following your dreams, and making sure that you exercise your right to vote. And I shot from the hip, and it ended up being a good time, and everybody, Senator Hillary Clinton, after came up to me, we met her. We got to meet her in the back, and the pictures that you see that were online, that she was congratulating me on the speech and told me that it was one of the best speeches she's ever heard. And what a compliment to come from someone like her.
Yes.
Yeah, really.
That's a high honor. And any of our listeners that are listening right now, you can follow Eric on Twitter if you would like to talk to him about anything that you're going through personally, or know of anybody, just contact him, and that would be at the real Eric M for Martinez. Also, his website is eric-martinez.com, and there's a lot of information on there as well. So, and you have a Facebook too. So, is it Facebook.com/Eric Martinez?
Yeah, it's just Facebook Eric Martinez.
Okay, yeah. Is there any other way they can contact you, or those are the three main ways?
They can, if they go to the website, they have all my information is on my website as well.
Right.
And they can reach me. I'm not one of those people. I answer all my Twitter messages. I answer all my Facebook messages. So, if you have anything that you want to ask me, or if you want to talk to me about something, feel free.
Yeah, I was astounded by that. I mean, you have so many people that follow you and you follow, and yet there you are. Anytime I say anything, you answer, and you're a great guy.
Oh, thank you.
You're a great guy, and I love the pictures that you tweet out with you and other people. And as you said before, you'd like to do different roles, like maybe some love role or something.
Yeah.
And you've got the face for it. You are so handsome. Your eyes are the most beautiful blue, and you have a great smile. I can definitely see you playing a role like that.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. Oh, and I'm hoping that one day somebody, sees that as well, that's making a movie and could use me at that capacity.
Well, let's hope they're listening right now, or maybe they'll download the show and we put a little bee in somebody's ear. So
I know, really, that's right. Now, I've got a question for you, Eric. Of all the roles you played by television, TV, and all the experiences that you've had, is there any one particular experience that just jumps out at you as being the most memorable? Now, I don't know how you top going to the, speaking in front of the president, Hillary Clinton, but in the entertainment realm of what you do, is there any one particular most memorable moment for you?
It would probably have to be the first time